Hello, this is Anthony. Let's sit and talk. By the way, if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd be grateful. So, today we're going to talk about the spiritual journey. Over the last many weeks, we've talked about one of the things that can potentially kick off a spiritual journey for someone, but there are a multitude of different ways. A lot of times, um, it surrounds the fact that you maybe hit rock bottom, or you start to see that the world around you isn't what you've been told. You start to see different patterns and different things that start to have you question a lot of the societal things that we are taught and told to go with. You start seeing different synchronicities and aspects of life that just things with society, they just can't explain them. In fact, you start to understand that most people don't even recognize some of the things that you're beginning to experience and beginning to connect with. What this generally does is, it creates a pathway for you to start to release the programming that you've become and starting to understand better really who you are and what the purpose of your journey actually is. And it is different for everyone. Everyone has a different journey and a different purpose. So even when I talk about just starting a spiritual journey, there are a multitude of ways that you start there. There's not a one size fits all in these sorts of scenarios. So I really like to try to come from my aspect of it, share some of the things that I've understood, and then learn through some of the gurus and others that I've listened to and worked with on my journey. And then also offer you things that that I've seen in other people that I've interacted with and that I've learned from as well. So the spiritual journey, like I said, usually kicks off with some sort of a sense of hitting rock bottom or seeing that something is just not the same, something's off to you. Generally speaking, a lot of people will start to do things like go into learning how to meditate, and those are amazing things to do, because what happens in meditation is you start to understand again who you are and start to listen to your inner guru, because everyone has an inner guru. We don't need external people to explain to us what's going on. We already have the answers for ourselves internal. With that, you start to really search out and seek knowledge. For me, I consumed books incessantly. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on gurus that I respected, or that I had read books on, or that I resonated with, and there was just this quest for knowledge, and that went on for many years. And what happens is you start to trust yourself the more you get past the ego self, and you understand who you really are. You begin to understand that you have this ability to discern information, for lack of a better word, when you hear things, you start to hear things and understand that, like that resonates with me, that does not resonate with me. And it helps to guide you on your path. Now, this, generally speaking, happens for years. And then at some point, you get to a place where it's almost like you don't need the gurus anymore, because you have such a understanding and trust and belief in self that you begin to go internal for your answers and for the answers. And then once that occurs, that kicks off a whole new a world of adventure where essentially you begin to see and choose things that resonate with the path that you feel like you're on. Understanding also that you also have the choice to switch that path at any point. The one thing that generally does not happen is you generally cannot go back to, in fact, I've not met anyone who's gone through a spiritual journey that could ever go back to being the former version of who they were. It's almost like you shed your skin and you've just outgrown that person, and that person no longer exists. For me, it literally was like that person died, and then I was born. So you can't go back to a former life, and that has advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes when you see people in their kind of just their um, hypnotic program self, and they seem like they're happy, sometimes you go, man, I almost wish I could go back to that. But then you quickly realize, no, I really wasn't happy in that situation. I'm much happier, at least having more understanding of who I am and my power and my ability to affect and change my life in a positive and fulfilling manner. So, again, with the spiritual journey, it's a little different for everyone. For me, I also went through years of celibacy as well. I know that not all people necessarily resonate with that, but that's certainly something that was on my path. I was actually brought to a book written by Jay Shetty called Think Like a Monk, and I read that book and realized that for the first probably 3, almost 4 years of my life, I literally was living my life as a monk, not realizing, because I'd never studied or read anything about monks, but my day to day literally was, that of the same kinds of things that monks do when they're in their ashrams and stuff. A lot of meditation, a lot of living in the moment, focusing on my thoughts and purging those, and really reframing how I viewed the world, focusing on my tasks that I chose for myself or for my daily practices and cleaning and things like that. So those were all things that I experienced, and I know others have experienced on this journey as well. So just that was just something brief, just kind of throw you out. I definitely would love to answer more questions about this if there are questions that you have. Certainly, please feel free to leave questions or messages in the comment. I'd love to read those and interact. And until I talk to you again, peace, love, light. Have an amazing day. Blessings.